What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX back in action after a little bit of a technical difficulty with some of the drivers in the practice session, but here we are back for the first official practice session of the 2017 IRL F1 season. That is the International Racing League F1 season on the PS4 platform. If you were just with us, you'll know that some of you might be familiar with me with the SRL Racing League. I commentate for them as well. And that is the Sandro Racing League. And while there are many SRL leagues, there is only one Sandro Racing League. But this is the International Racing League. This is the first official practice session of the 2017 season. I'm sorry, 2018. What the fuck year is it? And feeling a little under the weather today. This is Season 5 for International Racing League. And this is the first official practice session. We have some guys heading out on the track. This is going to be a 45-minute practice session, followed by a short qualifying session, and then a small exhibition race. Some of the drivers may seem familiar from the SRL. Got a couple of drivers that do multiple leagues. So we have SRL, we have IRL. Some drivers have done both. Some drivers have left SRL to come to IRL. But Cameron Weston Edwards does both. Ethan Croft does both. And we have Rob Sawyer, who was doing SRL earlier in the season, is now doing this. And we're taking a look at Ethan Croft in the McLaren. If you watch the SRL, he drives the Scuderia Toro Rosso. It looks like we've already got a caution in Sector 1. A couple of drivers may not have joined up. Some of them may have already been done crashed out. Take a look at Rob Sawyer in the factory Ferrari. He was driving for Renault in the SRL League. Recently left there a few weeks back to prepare himself for this league, the IRL League. Riley Buys. He is a last-minute replacement for the reserve driver, Twist MW, which was Alexander Chisolu. But Riley Buys is going to be replacing him here last minute in the factory Ferrari. Take a look at Beastie Kids. He is in one of the Haas. That is going to be Louis Blackman. He is out on the medium tires. F3Y in the Sauber. That is going to be Felix Negwer, as best I can pronounce it. Felix out on the medium tires as well. Only a few minutes into this practice session here at Sao Paulo, Brazil. Orange Warrior. Obviously the name goes with the car. He's in one of the factory McLaren Hondas. Orange Warrior, that is Kyle White. And he's out on the white wall tires. Medium compound. A lot of guys out on medium compounds right now. Hop on board with him real quick. Some of these cars are getting up to speed. Rob Sawyer's the only one to set a 1:12 time. He was obviously on a fast lap, 1:12.482. Brand the Man Glover, that's Brandon Glover. He's a half second off the pace of Rob Sawyer. We got somebody off in the grass there. That's one of the Toro Rossos. Let's take a look at Kyle White. Looks like he's still getting up to speed. Callum the Boss in one of the Williams cars. And that is going to be, take a look at my notes here as I try to keep up with everything that's going on. That is Callum Latham, I believe is his name. And if I'm pronouncing these names wrong, let me know, guys, and I'll try to correct it next time out. Looks like he's getting ready to go on a fast lap. DRS slots open. Oh, and he goes very wide into turn 1. Gathers it back up, heads back out. That's going to cost him some time. He runs very wide, drops the right side tires in the grass. And it looks like he has aborted his fast lap. Looks like he's trying to get some more heat into the tires. Got a couple guys in the pits. And here we have ZE3EXER. I don't know what that is supposed to stand for, but this is Sanderhog. And he is obviously in the Scuderia Toro Rosso. He runs deep down in turn 1. And looks like he's moving out of the way to let some faster cars go by. Looks like we had somebody set a new fastest lap. Naughton7 runs a 1:12.150. 0.3 of a second faster than Rob Sawyer. Take a look back at Beastie Kids. I believe that's Kyle White. I try to remember these guys. That's what practice is for. It's for the drivers and it's for me. This is Louis Blackman in the Haas. Try to work out all the kinks before we set off for the first official race of the season, which will be coming in the next couple weeks on the 21st of January. The season will kick off at Canada, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal on the 21st of January. And we're going to stick with Blackman here for a minute, see if he can post a time as he heads down into the 1-2 complex and out onto the straightaway. And Naughton sets a new fastest lap, 1:12.040. He's now 0.4 up over Rob Sawyer. As we continue to watch Blackman. Medium tires just don't have the grip of the other ones. Oh, and he runs wide, drops the left sides almost out on the grass. We've got a caution in sector 3, and may have been for Blackman here with his quick on-off. Oh no, we've got a Sauber off into the grass. Not sure who that was. Continue to watch Blackman. Looks like he's going to come across the line. Improves his time, but not his position. 6th fastest overall, 1.4 seconds behind Naughton. Got wasted times in the pits. And here we have De Huisman in one of the factory Red Bulls. Take a look and see if we can decipher who he actually is. De Huisman, I don't actually have his name on a list. Might have been a last-minute driver replacement. What I have for Red Bull was a black dog that was Thomas DeHont, and the Jazzman, which was Justin Hootdepin, and Chaza, which was Charlie Palmer Stevens. I don't have a De Huisman on my list, but he's currently 8th fastest overall, running medium compound tires. Take a look here at Dylan Sniperboy 1. He's 3.8 seconds off the pace set by Naughton. He's in one of the factory Mercedes. He's actually one of the reserve drivers for the Mercedes team. That would be, looks like Dylan Huthmeyers. He's the reserve. The two main drivers is going to be Gavin Parker, who was last year's champion. And Norton is actually Connor Norton, or Connor Naughton, I should say. He's the first fastest car out on the track. He's the but Riley B's in the Ferrari sets a new lap time of a 1:11.956, 0.08 of a second faster than Naughton in the Mercedes. See Callum the Boss. Last time we left him, he was trying to put heat into the tires, and we come back to him, and he's still trying to put heat into the tires. Doesn't look like the mediums want to work too well with the Williams chassis. He's off into the grass. I'm assuming that was a attempt to put some heat into the tires. Runs wide into one, drops the right side tires, going into two, and Callum the Boss, he's 13th fastest, but he hasn't really set a fast time. He's 14 seconds off the pace. I'm sure he's still trying to put some heat into those tires. We've got some drivers who have had some issues trying to load in. We've got a lot of drivers in the pits. Scheduled to have 20 drivers. Currently, we only have about 13 out on track. Dalton in the pits working on his setup. Brandon Glover in the pits. Pick up FY in the Sauber, drops the right sides off the curb into the grass. F3Y, this is Felix Degwer. Still working on names. But Felix is 6th fastest. He's only about a second off of the pace. Ooh, power slides coming out of that corner. Ooh, locks up the left front heading into that corner. Ooh. The run down the front stretch. Past the pit road entrance. We'll see what kind of time he can set this time by. And looks like he is now within a half second. So he improves his time, not necessarily the position. He's still 6th fastest, but he's a half second off the pace now, as opposed to 1.2. And Beastie Kids, I believe this was Kyle White who's in the Haas. Verify that here. I'm sorry, that's Louis Blackman. I don't know who Kyle White is, but I like his name. It's the only one I can remember so far. So Louis Blackman in the Haas, that's Beastie Kids. 7th fastest, 1.3 seconds behind Riley in the factory Ferrari. Haas with the Ferrari power. And we're about 15 minutes into this practice session. Got some guys that crashed out early on. Some guys had some internet issues, lost connection. But we're going to continue on here with this practice session. First official one for the 2018 IRL International Racing League F1 season on the PS4 platform. And Blackman is going to head into the pits, work on his setup. So DeJuzman is still out on the track. 9th fastest. He's about 2.2 seconds off the pace. I've seen a lot of guys out on the medium compound tires. Oh, and Brandon Glover sets a new time with a 1:11.731. And just as I was saying, a lot of the drivers have been out on the medium compound tires. You see the Jewsman here out on the red banded ones. Those are the super softs. Take a look back at Dylan Sniper Boy. That's Dylan Hoofmeyers. I think we talked about him a little bit ago, reserve driver for the Mercedes. Ethan Croft in the factory McLaren Honda. Some of you may be familiar with him with the SRL League, the other league that I commentate. In that league, he drives the Scuderia Toro Rosso, runs very wide coming out of that corner. The whole car off on out in the grass. So far, Croft. Oh, new fastest lap here by Brandon Glover again, 1:11.551. So he's continuing to drop the times. It looks like we have a new driver trying to rejoin the session. Little Peace, not sure what car he was in. See if he can regain connection and get out on the track and perhaps set a time. As we continue to watch Ethan Croft. And Croft is going to head into the pits. Whoa! Runs wide, almost goes head on into the pit wall there at the entrance. That would have been a calamity. Orange Warrior, his teammate, he is in the pits as well. We're going to take a look at you see Riley went off there in the grass. We're going to take a look at Brandon Glover, who's continuing to set fast lap after fast lap in the Sauber. Fastest so far with a 1:11.551. We have a caution in the Sector 1 area. And Brandon Glover is actually one of the reserve drivers for this team, but he's setting some fast times. Naughton goes back to the top of the charts with a 1:11.146. So the Saubers and the Ferraris are exchanging blows here in a practice session with very little meeting. Take a look at Naughton. He's in the Mercedes. He set his time on the soft tires. And Brandon Glover is off course, loses the back end. He's in the grass. Looks like he was just trying to push that a little too hard. He'll regain that, abort this lap, and try again next time around as we take another look back at Naughton. 0.4 of a second faster now over Naughton's time. I'm sorry, Naughton is 0.4 of a second faster over Brandon's time. So Naughton is your quickest driver of the day so far. And he is going to run down the front stretch, see if he improves on his time. He will not. You see one of the Red Bulls coming back out onto the track. That is going to be the Jewsman on an outlap. 7th fastest so far, 1.7 seconds behind Naughton's fastest time, who we are continuing to watch. In the midst of it, Rob Sawyer has managed to climb his way back into the second position with the second fastest time. He's 0.2 off of Naughton. And he is out on the ultra soft tires. So Naughton set his fastest time with the softs. Sawyer is second fastest on the super softs. See Rob there with a very unique helmet design. Red and turquoise. Brandon Glover is in the pits. Going to recheck his setup. Maybe he'll come back out and see if he can get back to the top of the charts. But he's third fastest in his Sauber. Take a look at Rob Sawyer here. We've got a caution in Sector 2. Sawyer does not improve his time, unfortunately. We'll take a look at his teammate, Riley Bees. Another caution in Sector 2. There's a Sauber sitting on the side of the road. That's not Glover's. Glover's is on an outlap. That may have been his car. It looks like he was just giving himself some space to the car in front. Take a look back at Riley Bees, though. He's in the other factory Ferrari. He's still out on medium compound tires. Fourth fastest time overall, 0.8 off of Naughton in the Mercedes. So 1 through 4, another caution in Sector 2. So Riley Bees is going to head into the pits. We'll take a look at Brandon Glover. So we hop on board with him down into the turn 1-2 complex. Out onto the straightaway. That's a nice tight line coming out of there. We've got a Callum coming back out on track. Hopefully he'll move over for Glover to go run a hot lap. And he tries to stay out of the way. Doesn't look like he impeded on Glover too much. Looks like Naughton has retired from the sessions. So far he has the fastest time of a 1:11.147. Not sure if that's an internet connection issue or if he just called it a day, because that's a hard time to beat. We continue to ride along here with Brandon Glover. He's coming up on more lap traffic. That's the Jewsman and the Red Bull. Might have lost a little bit of time there. We've got cautions in Sector 2 and 3. Back out on the front stretch to see what kind of time he can set. Comes across, does not improve his time, unfortunately. See the drivers that are out on which tires they've got. So the fastest time, you see Naughton set the fastest time with the soft tires. Rob set the second fastest time on the mediums. He's currently on the mediums. There's your best times. So Rob Sawyer did set his best time on the super softs, while Naughton did it on just the soft tires. And the Jewsman is running very slow. It looks like he'll head into the pits. Not sure if he's got a mechanical issue or not. Beastie Kid's in the Haas. 8th fastest time. He's out on the soft tires. Beastie Kids. That is Louis Blackman. Man, I can't remember. Oh, but he does improve his time. He runs up to 7th. Good time from him. So here's the other Mercedes. This kid, Dylan, I think, has been out here just about the whole time. He's not setting the world on fire. This is Dylan Huthmeyers. He's been on mediums, I think, this whole time. I'm not even sure he's going back into the pits. 10th fastest so far. See, he comes across a Williams there. Williams might have slowed him down a little bit. Interesting strategy Dylan may be running here. Looks like he's trying to get as much as he can possibly seeing how far he can really run these mediums before having to switch tires. So it seems Dylan is running a long stint on these tires to get a feel for how far they will go. Minutes left in this 45-minute practice session. Ooh, you see Dylan runs very wide, dropped the right sides off into the grass there. Ethan Croft out in the Honda, down in the 12th position. And Dalton, we have just learned, retired from the session. Lost control of the car, had some oversteered, would head on into the wall. Pushing the car a little too hard, so even though Dalton is out, he still has the fastest time for this practice session. And we see Glover just went into the pits. Sawyer is back out on medium compound tires. So after setting a fast lap, the second fastest of the day, I'm sorry, third fastest as of right now, looks like he's out to do a long stint to get a feel for these medium compound tires and see how far they'll go. Here we got Felix on the Sauber. Fourth fastest so far. Been kind of quiet today. Riley Bees, the last-minute replacement as a reserve driver in the factory Ferrari, actually put up some pretty stellar times as he's going to head back into the pits as well. De Juzman is back out on track for another out lap. He's on the Super Softs. Take a look at his telemetry real quick here. Got fuel mixture on full rich. Looks like he's going to try and set a fastest time. So right now, Juzman is 9th quickest. Oh, he gets pushed off into the grass. Oh, no, and De Juzman. One of the Williams came out of the pit and put De Juzman into the wall. Unfortunate for him. Not sure which Williams that was. But his day is done. Looks like that may have been, and it was, David Wallbank. And I'm sure that was a complete accident. Bad timing. Wallbank came out, pushed wide to try and get to the racing line, and pushed De Juzman off. Too bad for De Juzman. He was actually running pretty good today. And then we got cautions in sector 1 and 2. That's probably De Juzman's car. It's going to be right in the middle of that area. So Wallbank on his out lap unfortunately ruins De Juzman's practice session. You can see De Juzman's car off to the left side there. Well, it looks like Wallbank is going to try and set a fast lap here. Wallbank's 6th fastest so far in the Williams. And it looks like he may have aborted this lap. He's still on it a little bit. We'll keep with it. And yes, he has aborted this lap. Oh, off into the grass. Almost, almost ruined his day along with the Juzmans. So we're watching David Wallbank. Who ruined the Juzman's day. 15 minutes left in this 45-minute practice session. Brandon Glover is back out on track. And you see it looks like here. Whoa, and one of the McLarens goes off. That's going to ruin Wallbank's lap. So, a little bit of karma there. Because Wallbank will have to abort that lap. So we're going to check back here with Brandon Glover. Second fastest time overall. He's out on the Super Softs. The fastest time was set by Naughton in the Mercedes. Naughton unfortunately lost control of his car a few laps later and went head on and crashed, but he still has the fastest time. Brandon Glover has been in hot pursuit, trying to get that time on the top of the sheets. He's just a little bit off. Five hundredths of a second. And now he is the fastest man on track. 1:10.882. I knew that's why Brandon was going back out on track. He wanted to get to the top of the timesheets. So unbelievable. With Naughton out, Naughton is currently 0.2 of a second slower than Glover's time. Unbelievable lap by Glover. Take a look at Rob Sawyer. Rob Sawyer is still out on the medium compounds, doing a long stint to see how far he can make these things go. Behind him, you have Felix. He is in the pits. You see the other Ferrari there of Riley B's going in. Beastie Kids. I want to say that's Louis Blackman. The man I can't remember. Hot damn, I got one right. So Blackman is your sixth fastest car in the Haas Ferrari. See the Williams there. I believe that's David Wallbank. He's off to the side there, letting Blackman go by. Blackman is going to head into the pits. So we've got a couple of cars that have crashed out of this session. Naughton, who had the fastest time overall for a long time until a couple of laps ago. Naughton was in the Mercedes. He oversteered, lost control of his car, went head on into a wall. ZE3XER. That is Sanderhaug. He was in one of the Scuderia Toro Rossos. He crashed out. The Juzman, we saw what happened with him. David Wallbank came out on the track and pushed him off into the grass, and the Juzman crashed. It's Nordox is out. Not sure what happened to him. I'm sure there will be some discussion after the practice session as to what will become of David Wallbank. Wallbank, I'm sure, will incur some sort of penalty that will have to be left up to the stewards as we ride along with Ethan Croft here in the McLaren Honda. Again, Croft is one of the drivers that does multiple leagues. He drives the SRL League. That is the Sandro Racing League. And while there's many SRL leagues, there's only one Sandro Racing League. And in that league, he drives the Scuderia Toro Rosso. But today, in the IRL International Racing League, he is going to be rocking the McLaren Honda. So 10 minutes to go in this practice session, the first official practice session for the 2018. And Croft loses the back end of the car. And as I was saying, this is the first official practice session this year for the 2018 IRL International Racing season on the PS4 platform. First race kicks off at Montreal in a couple weeks on the 21st. 3 p.m. Great Britain time. 10 p.m. if you're on the other side of the pond on the East Coast. And Croft does not improve his time, unfortunately. And Callum the Boss, his car just went ghost. And it looks like Callum may have an internet connection issue. Car is ghost, so the AI is taking over. Oh, wasted times in the Sahara Force India. We haven't talked a whole lot about him today. He's 12th fastest overall, 2.6 seconds behind. And that is, looks like Leland Supartini. If I'm not saying that right, I apologize. But again, that's what practice is for. Get to know the cars, get to know the drivers. So Supartini is 12th fastest overall. Did not improve his time there. He's out on the Super Softs. And here we have Ethan Croft's teammate, Orange Warrior 03. That is going to be... That is Kyle White. The man I've got mixed up with Louis Blackman almost all day. So Kyle White is in the other Honda McLaren. So the McLarens are currently 10th and 14th fastest. White is 3.8 seconds off the pace, which would seem about right if we were doing realistic engine performance simulations. He is going to come across the line, see if he can improve his time. And he does. He moves up to 10th quickest on the charts. Picked up almost 2 seconds on that lap. So nice job by Kyle White. Going to take a look back here at Rob Sawyer, still out on the white banded tires, medium compound. He may try to push these to the end to get a feel for long stints in the coming season. And it looks like Wallbank, he is crashed off into the Sector 2-3 area. And he is going to be done for the day. So, karma, Mr. Wallbank, karma. He's going to try and get this car back going. He's now sitting in the middle of the track. So he gets it back rolling. sure he'll head into the pits for a tire and wing change. And we're going to take a look at Riley Bees. He is still in the pits. Take a look at Felix, the Sauber. He is 4th fastest. So the Sauber team's actually looking pretty tough so far in this first practice session. Felix, the 4th fastest, and then you have Brandon Glover power sliding through that corner. And he's off! He's way off. And he's going to get back under control here. He's out on the medium compound tires, but as I was saying, the Saubers are looking pretty stout so far. Fastest and 4th fastest overall. And Glover is going to head back into the pits. Take a look back at his teammate, Felix, the other Sauber. 0.6 of a second off of his teammate's pace. Power slides coming out of that corner. Back out onto the front stretch. And he too is going to head into the pits. So as the session winds down, more and more cars heading into the pits area. And here comes Rob Sawyer. He will head into the pits as well. And that is not going to leave anybody on track. So 4 minutes remaining. Not sure if anybody will do a quick qualifying setup and go on a go-fast lap, try and make something happen. But as it stands, no one on course, with the exception of Kyle White, who is your 10th quickest overall. See one car heading back out on the track. That's going to be Wasted Times. I believe that was Supertini in the Sahara Force India. Supertini. Got a couple of guys heading back out. Louis Blackman's heading back out. Supertini's back out. We're continuing to watch Kyle White. See one of the Mercedes heading back out. And looks like McLaren here is giving himself some space to the Mercedes that just pulled out. So 2:30 to go in this 45-minute practice session. Take a look at Louis Blackman. He's out on the super soft tires. Looks like he might try and set a go-fast lap. See if he can climb his way up the charts a little bit. Nice line coming out of that corner. Very nice line heading through there. And it looks like Rob Sawyer has now retired from the session. Off into the pits. And back to the Haas real quick. And Blackman actually ran a pretty good tight lap that time by. See if he can improve his position at all. Fortunately, no. So down to the final minute here. Got a couple of guys out on track. Maybe want to set a last minute effort for a quick lap time. See 3 cars here. Looks like Supartini and a couple of the other guys here. And Felix is going to let the cars go by, give himself a little bit of a gap. Looks like he might try and make a last-ditch effort to set a fastest time. Take a quick look at Ethan Croft out on the soft tires. So these are going to be your final fast laps. We got the one McLaren off. That's Orange Warrior. That's Kyle White. He's going to abort that lap, I'm sure. Looks like you got a Williams coming out of the pit. He's not going to have enough time to make it back around the track to make an official lap time. Not sure why he's even coming out. And you see here Williams off. And it looks like Felix is going to give up on this lap. We'll take a look at Kyle White. So time's up. Your fastest man of the day is Brandon Glover. So coming across the line, Kyle White for the last time. So Brandon the Man Glover was the fastest man on track. His teammate, Felix Neguar, was 4th fastest in the other Sauber. Your 2 Ferraris, which was Rob Sawyer, was 3rd quickest, half a second off the pace. Riley Bees, who was a last-minute substitution as a reserve driver, 7th quickest. Naughton was your 2nd fastest time overall, 2/10 off. He held the fastest lap for a large portion of the day until Glover put up that 1:10.882 in the final 20 minutes. Ethan Croft, 9th quickest. Kyle White, his teammate, 10th quickest. We had a few incidences today. David Wallbank had come out of the pits onto the straightaway, and in the process took out the Jewsman in the Red Bull. Callum the Boss wrecked out, I believe. Naughton eventually wrecked out as well, even though he had the fastest time. At the time, he had the fastest time when he wrecked. There's a look at Ethan Croft. He's got a pretty unique helmet design. Oh, and it looks like Kyle White is wrecked on the slowdown lap, cool-down lap, if you will. Got ourselves a little bit of a possibly Lance Stroll, Sebastian Vettel incident there. See the broken right front suspension. So here are your times and in which the tire they were set with. And we will follow this up with a quick qualifying session and then a short exhibition race to finish out this first official practice session for the 2018 IRL season. So hopefully the drivers got some good feedback from their sessions. not just good information on the cars and the tires, but the other drivers that they will be dealing with throughout the course of this 2018 season. And it looks like we're going to have a 12-minute qualifying session, and it looks like the rain has come. Be interesting to see if the weather lets up, who's going to go out on intermediates, who's going to go out on full wets. Looks like we have a couple of guys heading out there. There's one of the Mercedes as it leaves. Sahara Force India out on track. So we got a couple of guys, got about 3 cars heading out on outlaps now. Some guys are probably not too happy about this, but rain is the great equalizer. And now a lot of cars are heading out on the track. Looks like the first guy that went out on track was Mr. Arc 15, who is, I'm just going to refer to as Mark, and we've already got a caution out in Sector 2. Mark did not make the practice session, and unfortunately I do not have Mark's official name. He's not listed on my Haas registry, but I'm sure we will get some more information as the season goes on. So you see Mark there letting one of the, looks like the Sahara Force India go by. That may be Supatini. Sounds like a drink, doesn't it? Super teeny. Like I want a super teeny. It'll get you drunk quick. So see, most of these guys are out on the intermediates. And I gotta be honest, De Juzman is already out of the session. What has happened to him? And he has lost control and he's off into the wall. So De Juzman will not be able to set a time. And now we have Kyle White. He's also off. So here's Louis Blackman in the Haas on his outlap. We were watching Mark 15. We've got another caution in Sector 2. The rain continues to come down. So coincidentally, 9 minutes to go in this session, and nobody has set an official time yet. We'll see if Mark sets one coming across this line here. And a caution in Sector 3, David Wallbank. And he has crashed hard into the wall. Broken the whole suspension, left and right side. He is done for the day. And we have more cautions in Sector 1 and 3. I'm trying to keep up with all the action that's going on. Finally, somebody sets a time. Felix in the Sauber sets a time of 1:21. Now we're starting to get some times here. Rob Sawyer, your third quickest overall. I believe the wasted times, I believe that is... Yep. Supartini. Oh, and look at this. Blackman sets the second fastest time. So a lot of action on a lot of these outlaps. And now Naughton has set the fastest time in the Mercedes. We'll take a look at Ethan Croft. He'll come across the line to set a time. Croft, 4th fastest, half a second off. Nice run. See one of the factory Renaults there. We didn't see them in practice. Not sure who that is. This is Sandro Hog. New fastest lap by Felix in the Sauber, 120.7. So we take a look at Sander here in the Scuderia Toro Rosso. He's going to come across the line. Nope, he's not. He's going to head to the pits. Possibly try the full wets. Some of these guys are still working on their setups. And a caution in Sector 2. And Callum, the boss, that is Callum Lantham. He's out in the Williams. He's out on an out lap. Little Piece, not 100% sure who that is. He's in the other Scuderia Toro Rosso. That is going to be the reserve driver, Jorge Carrera. He runs wide, heading out onto the front stretch. So 7 cars so far have set times. Brandon Glover back to the top of the charts in the Sauber. 125.76, and now it's a Sauber 1-2. Mercedes with Naughton is 0.4 of a second off. Rob Sawyer almost 2 seconds off the pace. We've got 8 cars that have set times. We have 3 cars that have already crashed out, and there's only 5 minutes to play in the session. Oh, and around goes. He saves it, but Glover was pushing it a little hard. Back end came around on him, a little too much oversteer. We'll take a look here at Sue Palartini. Out of the Sahara Force India, he's on an out lap. Gonna take a look at Me 005. He's in the other Sahara Force India. Didn't see him in the practice session, and I don't see him on my sheet. Possibly another last-minute replacement for some of these teams. So Me 005 SSI. He's in the other. You see one of the Williams there lose control. Not sure who that was. And we've got a crash. It looks like maybe in Sector 2 or 3. Yep, there's the Williams. Not sure which Williams that was. And it looks like that was Callum the boss. Callum Lantham lost control of his Williams. So he's going to go in for a tire and wing change, maybe come back out and try and set a time. We've got some cars here now that are finally starting to go out. The Renaults are out on track. This is Stewart. And he is not on my list. And it looks like the other Renault is also not on my list. So, a lot of last-minute driver changes here. I don't have all the information on most of these guys. Right now we're currently looking at... It's Nordox. So we have Nordics in the one Renault, Stewart in the other. A little bit of a snap oversteer there in the wet. He's got a lot of oversteer. He fights that car coming out of that corner. Stick with him to see if he can set a time. Heads down to the end of the stretch. Throws it in the corner. Oh, the rotors are glowing on that. Runs wide. He's out in the grass. It's a little wide again. See the brakes glowing off in the distance. Oh, and he's going to lose it. The back end's going to come around. No, he saves it. Great save. We just got a flash that Beastie Kids might be out of this session. Another caution in the Sector 2 area. And yeah, you can see over on the right side, looks like he is gone and wrecked. Gets the car back under power, and he will head off. Now we've got a caution in Sector 3. So Beastie Kids is out even after setting the 6th fastest time. And that was Nordics that just flashed by. And, uh-oh, Rob Sawyer now is retired from the session. Looks like he might just be done for the day. There's only a minute left to play. Take a look at Naughton here real quick. He's 5th quickest overall. He's about a half second off the pace. Brandon Glover, who has the fastest time with a 1:25.76, has gone out on another out lap. Risky to try and improve on his time at all. He has the pole position essentially locked up with only 40 seconds to play. Another yellow in Sector 1. Dalton does not improve his time, but as I say, why would Brandon go back out on an out lap? Felix just answered my question. We've got a lot of cars off there in the Sector 1 area. That's Callum Latham in the Williams. Looks like he's going to pull off to the side. He's done for the day. You take a look at Felix in the other Salver. He set a new fastest lap of 1:24.26. And this session is going to be up. Flying laps will count. Brandon Glover, who held the pole position up until just a few moments ago, his flying lap will count. We're going to see if he can improve on his time. See a little bit of a racing line coming into play here. So the rain, even though it hasn't necessarily let up, it looks like Glover lost the back end of the car a little bit. So even though the rain hasn't necessarily let up, you can see a little bit of a racing line. So as it stands, your pole sitter will be Felix. And Felix comes by to improve on his time just one more time. Oh, and we've got a wreck. That's one of the McLarens. Right at the front stretch here. That's going to be Ethan Croft, unfortunately. Right at the end of the session, Croft, 9th quickest time, wrecks right at the start-finish line. So this session is officially over. Felix is your pole sitter for the exhibition race that is coming up next. And Mark in the Haas, even though he set the 2nd fastest time, looks like he has crashed heavy into the wall head on. Dalton in the Mercedes will be starting 3rd. Brandon Glover, who had the proverbial pole position for a lot of this session, in the closing moments went from pole to 4th. The Scuderia Toro Rosso, that is Sanderhaug, will be 5th. Uh-oh. Looks like we've got more cars off. Oh my goodness, this looks like, what is that, Brazil 2006? I think when Fernando Alonso had that massive wreck, Mark Webber was still driving a Jag. So here's your starting grid. All time set on the intermediates. Nobody tried the full wets. Riley Bees set no time. DeJuesman wrecked out. Kyle White, no time. Wallbank wrecked out. Colin Latham, no time. So we're going to do a short exhibition race, 25% length here at Sao Paulo to finish out this first official practice session of the year for the 2018 IRL International Racing League season here on the PS4 platform. Looks like the weather has let up for the race. So lots of action in the qualifying session. We'll see what the race has in store for us here momentarily. But through qualifying and through practice, the talk has been the Salvers. And we are underway. Oh, I was prepared for a warm-up lap. Apparently we're not doing a warm-up lap. We are off and running. Felix is starting to walk away with the lead already. And you see the battle for second is on. Brandon Glover jumps to the inside. Ooh, jumps to the inside of Mark. Oh, and look at that. Dalton's going to try and make a dive bomb move. Pushes Mark wide. Riley Bees has been disqualified. Oh my goodness, and the Mercedes is up in the air. Oh my goodness, Naughton is done. Unbelievable. And Naughton got aggressive there. Take a quick look at Little Piece. See shuffling, we had a car off in the grass. That looks like one of the McLarens. Looks like that was Kyle White. We've got one of the Renaults around. That was Stewart that lost control of his car. Looks like he probably had some help. And even though this is an exhibition race, these guys are really going for it. But back up at the front, you've got Felix, who has already pulled out to about a 1.5 second lead over his teammate, Brandon Glover. Then you've got Mark in the Haas. Then you've got the Scuderia Toro Rosso of Zanderhaug. He's followed by Rob Sawyer in the factory Ferrari. And wasted times. That's Sue Martini. He's losing time. Oh, and there seems to be some sort of glitch there with the Williams. Whoa! Easty Kids in the Haas. I believe that's Louis Blackman. We've got a caution in Sector 3. Not sure who's involved with the sector. Fastest lap so far set by Felix, and it looks like we've got one of the Sahara Force Indias has gone ghost on us. That's B005. So perhaps whoever is in control of that car lost connection. We've got looks like one of the McLarens is wrecked out. Not sure who that was. Looks like it would have been Ethan Croft. He's done for the day. We just saw somebody spinning around. That would have been this Toro Rosso. Trying to keep up with everything for you guys. The Toro Rosso. That's Zanderhaug, and he has some wing damage. You can see there on the left front, he's definitely made some contact with somebody. So in the midst of everything, you've got Ethan Croft has crashed out. Naughton crashed out. Riley Bees was disqualified. Dylan Sniper Boy is done. Didn't even start. The Jewsman didn't even start. And back up at the front, we've got Felix, who's now pulled out to 2 seconds over his teammate, Brandon Glover, in the other Sauber. So right now it's a Sauber 1-2. Mark in the Haas Uh-oh, we've got another caution, big caution, in Sector 1 and 3. Got some guys headed into the pits. Looks like we've got the Toro Rossos. They're stacked in the pits. Try and head back to the top of the order. Try and give you a rundown of everything that's going on. And we have a virtual safety car out. I'm not 100% sure why. Probably due to all the debris that's been left out on the track. We've got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car for Kyle White and the other McLaren Honda. So we'll try and regroup here real quick under the virtual safety car conditions. Felix is your leader, followed by Brandon Glover in the other Sauber. It's a Sauber 1-2. Mark in the Haas F1 is third right now. Oh, and he lost it! And I don't know if his internet's glitching or mine is, but looks like he lost it going into the wall and reappeared on track. We've got a battle for position here. Oh, that's Beastie Kids. That's Louis Blackman taking it to his teammate. And yeah, we've got ourselves some internet hopping around. Car just went airborne. Not sure what's going on there. So watching Beastie Kids go airborne, then go under the map, and then back up on track. That's always interesting. So that resets, Rob Sawyer is now your third place car. With Mark now in the fourth position. Louis Blackman fifth. David Wallbank is going to be your sixth place car in the Williams. Stewart in the factory Renault, seventh. And Naughton has left this session. Take a look here at Suparatini, and Nordics is now retired from the session. Take a quick look here, and he is under the map. Yeah, haven't seen that. Looks like we've got guys dropping out left and right. Callan Latham is head on into the barriers. He's done for the day. So we still have B005 is under AI control. Fastest lap goes to Kyle White so far in the McLaren Honda. So we basically started with 19 drivers. We're left down to 12. 2 didn't start. 1 was disqualified. We've had 4 wreck out in the opening lap. So we're only on lap 6 of this 18 exhibition race, and there's been a lot of action to try and keep up with. Try and reset the grid for you before anything else happens. Your leader is still Felix in the Sauber. Rob Sawyer now is in second. We've got another caution in the sector 2 and 3 area. Disqualified from the session now is Kyle White. He ignored a drive-through penalty, so Kyle White's times will be done. And he pulls off to the side. Callan Lantham's car is still head on to the barriers. B005, he looks like he is now wrecked out. He was under AI control, perhaps regained control of the car, crashed out. So now we're down to 10 cars. And Stewart's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, I'm sure for quarter cutting. So, almost lost the back end there. So Felix is coming in to make his first pit stop of the day, probably his only pit stop of the day. Got a 5-second stop and go penalty for Rob Sawyer for speeding into the pit lane. Had a lot of guys with some internet lag, and it looks like that may have been the cause of a lot of these wrecks. As you see Felix head back out, that's going to hand the lead over to Mark in the Haas. And he is going to have a 7-second lead over Felix. And you see a battle in the back there. Got Brandon Glover is coming up on David Wallbank. And we've got a 3-second time penalty for Sander Haug and the Toro Rosso. So here's your closest battle on track right now. Glover and Wallbank, and it looks like Glover's going to dive down to the inside. He pushes Wallbank wide. Wallbank's going to come back onto the track. Glover is going to be off to the races. So he picks up the 3rd position. 5-second stop and go now for Mark for speeding into pit lane. That's going to hand the lead back over to Felix. And now you're back to a Sauber 1-2. So you got some guys in the pits. We're going to take a look here at Rob Sawyer. He's got a 5-second stop and go penalty that he'll have to divvy out before this race is over. Halfway through this race, and we've had a lot happen. We've got Beastie Kids, who's gone AI. We've got Stewart, who looks like he's crashed out. You can see his wrecked car on the right side of the screen there. He was running 8th, and he is going to be done for the day. Actually, I'm sorry, that is Little Peace, not Stewart. So perhaps they collided together? No, this is Little Peace. I'm sorry, here we go. So Stewart has crashed out in the factory Renault. We're riding along with Little Peace. He's running 8th. So the cars are dropping like flies. Trying to reset the order here. We have Felix is your leader. Right behind him is Brandon Glover. Glover has the gap now closed down to just within a second. He's just outside of DRS range. 3-second time penalty from Mark for corner cutting. So we continue to watch this battle here for the lead. Brandon Glover is now within a second of his teammate Felix. If he can hold that time difference, he'll be able to use the DRS back out into the front stretch. It's very close though. It's hopping between 98 hundredths of a second and 1.1. .98. Can he hold it going into the DRS? 0.95, 1.0. Don't know if he was close enough when he came across. And the slot's open, DRS range enabled. So Brandon Glover is trying to take it to his teammate, and he's now right on the back bumper. A little bit of oversteer coming out of turn 1 as they make the run down out of 3 and onto the straightaway. Lost a little bit of time through that 1-2 complex. But Brandon Glover is trying to fight his teammate for that first place position. So we continue to watch this battle for the first place between the Saubers, who are running 1 and 2. This is your closest battle on track right now. 8 cars left in this exhibition race. It has been packed full of drama, from cars being disqualified to cars not starting to cars crashing out to cars lagging out. This exhibition race has had everything, literally. We're going to take a quick look at this battle for third as Mark just got around Rob Sawyer heading into turn one. It doesn't look like Rob's ready to relinquish that as he's going to try and fight back down the straightaway. You see Mark take a more defensive line, come back, swing the car in wide. Take a look at Rob Sawyer, see if he can close that gap back down. Looks like Mark's pulling out on him just a little bit. Oh, but look at that. Rob Sawyer goes deep onto the brakes, closes that gap back up. The official time is within 0.3 of a second. And now Mark has pulled out a few more car lengths as they try to head through this last series of corners. Rob's going to want to try and stay as close to him as possible to be in DRS range. He's about 0.8 of a second off. He's not going to be close enough to try and make a move going into turn one, but he should be able to close the gap just a little bit to him. And it looks like Mark is going to be able to hold him off for position. So we'll take a look back at the battle at the front. Brandon Glover has the gap down to 0.7 of a second. Working his teammate Felix in the other Sauber. Felix with a lockup heading into that corner. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Another lockup from Felix as he heads into that corner. So working lap 13 of 18 in this exhibition race. And Felix is locking up his fronts a lot. I'm surprised the tires have been able to hold up as well as they have. See there, Brandon's still not close enough to try and make a move headed into one. Down on the straightaway, still not close enough to make a move. You see the smoke billowing off of Felix's tires though. And now he runs wide. Brandon Glover is there. Careful, boys. Remember the golden rule. Don't touch your teammate. Glover backs out, thinks twice. Not a good place to pass. 3-second time penalty for Rob Sawyer. And here comes Glover, trying to work the back of Felix's car. Your battle for the lead as we continue to watch this unfold. Oh, and it looks like Felix got just pulled himself out of DRS range there. And no DRS this time by for Brandon Glover. But another big lockup, and there he goes. Felix almost off into the grass. Glover closes the gap to him. You see Felix there, quick left, right, try and get the grass and the dirt off of those tires, get his grip back. Another lockup going into the corner. 3-second time penalty for Rob Sawyer. Again, that's the second time I've seen it flash across within a lap. Eight drivers left in this unbelievable exhibition race. These guys will have a lot of kicks to work out before the season gets underway. Oh, and you see Glover runs wide, and he's just lost all the time that he was trying to make up. That's going to give Felix a little bit of breathing room for these closing laps. So the gap went from 0.7 of a second, is now down to 2.3. I don't think Brandon's going to have enough time to try and make up that difference. He just gave the race away. But yeah, these drivers and administrators are going to have a lot of kicks to work out before the season kicks underway in 2 weeks at Montreal on the 21st of January. So Felix is your leader. Brandon Glover is running second in the Sauber. It's a Sauber 1-2. You see Mark in the Haas F1. He is third, but he's 14, almost 15 seconds behind the second place car, Brandon Glover. Behind him's Rob Sawyer, who's got a couple of 3-second penalties he'll have to divvy up. Plus he had a 5-second drive stop and go for speeding on pit road. We see here David Wallbank in the Williams. He's had an eventful weekend. Looks like he might have some internet lag as well. Wasted times, that's Leland Supatertini. He's put up some good times, so he's going to be running 6th. And then 19 seconds behind him is going to be Little Peace in the Scuderia Toro Rosso. Followed by Beastie Kids, who looks like he's lost his internet connection, so the AI car is going to take over. He'll essentially finish 8th. And then you have a string of cars after this. These are the only 8 cars out on track. After this, you have Stewart, who was in the factory Renault crash out. You had the other Toro Rosso, I believe, Sanderhout crash out. And now we've got looks like a caution in Sector 3. Not sure who that would have been. But Stewart, Sanderhout, B005, Callum Lantham, it's Nordox, Ethan Croft, Dalton, Kyle White, Riley Bees, Dylan, and DeJuzman are all done and out of this race. So with about a lap and a half to go, Brandon Glover has closed the gap back down to his teammate. He's now within 1.3 seconds. Essentially with 1 lap to go. They are coming to the white flag this time by. Don't think he's going to be close enough to try and make any moves on this lap. Really, he just needs to hold his position. These two are essentially 17 seconds ahead of Mark, who's in third. You can see these guys are leaving the front stretch as Mark is coming onto it. I don't think Brandon's done, but I don't think he's going to have enough track to make up the time to try and make any last-ditch efforts. He's within 1.1, but unless Felix makes a mistake, this is how they're going to finish. We have another 3-second time penalty for David Wallbank in the Williams. And back out onto the front stretch one last time. So it's going to be a Sauber 1-2. Felix going to be your winner. Brandon Glover started 4th, going to finish 2nd. See Mark in the Haas, he's going to be heading out on the front stretch. He's going to finish 3rd. Here comes Rob Sawyer. Factory Ferrari across the line 4th. David Wallbank coming across now. And he has done crashed into the wall here at the start-finish line. Not sure what that was about. Race is done, and so is the car. Supatertini is going to come across the line and hopefully not head on into David Wallbank's wrecked car. Little Piece will be coming across the line. Come across 7th. Beastie will be 8th. So quite an eventful exhibition race. You see the Sauber 1-2. So this was a full practice, short qualifying, and exhibition race for the upcoming 2018 IRL International Racing League F1 season on the PS4 platform. I am KAMIKAZE-FOX. I will be commentating for most of these races. If I don't happen to be around, you can always catch StitchBoy213, who will be commentating on them as well on his own YouTube channel. Our next practice session will be in a week at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve on the 14th. I will not be participating in that one. However, on the 21st is going to be the season opener, which will also be at Montreal at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Again, that's going to be 3 p.m. on Great Britain time and 10 a.m. in the morning if you're on the East Coast on the other side of the pond. So be sure to tune in. I'm KAMIKAZE-FOX. This has been IRL. We will see you next time.